content presented in this podcast is based on real events and may contain graphic descriptions of violence, sensitive topics, and explicit language that may be triggering, offensive, or sensitive subjects to some viewers and listeners. Discretion is advised. The purpose of this podcast is to explore and discuss true crime cases for entertainment and educational purposes only. This podcast does not intend to glorify or sensationalize crime, but rather aims to analyze and understand the complexities of human behavior in the criminal justice system. We encourage listeners to approach this content with empathy, critical thinking, respect for the victims and their families. Tonight, we're talking murder, mayhem, haunted crime scenes. The spirits who just won't shut up until somebody listens. We're talking about the bizarre collision of cold cases and cold spots. So grab your wine, sage your house, and maybe sleep with the lights on after this one. So with that being said, it's time to start the show. Let's hit it. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Mysteries, Mayhem, and Merlot. I am your host, Winnie Schrader. Tonight, my guest is the one and only Dalen Spratt, the paranormal investigator, TV personality from Ghost Brothers. Now he's on a new show with Scotty Davis, Phantom Forensics. But you have been in so many places, haunted places, and most, I would probably say 90% of hauntings deal with true crime. Somebody was murdered, stabbed, abused, whatever in those locations. And those locations seem to hold a lot more energy and substance than just a normal haunting. So I'd love to get Dalen Spratt on to talk about that and to see if he's encountered anything like that. So Dalen, welcome to the show.
Hey, Winnie, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. So you were on Ghost Brothers. That was first aired in 2016. And you had 2 seasons with Ghost Brothers.
Yeah. So, okay. It's funny. It's funny how like the
I know. I looked it up. I'm like, it's confusing.
Yeah. And I'm sure Dave it's probably been through the same thing. But they give you different iterations of your show. So we had 2 seasons of Ghost Brothers proper, as we call it. Then we had a season of Haunted House Guests. Look at my balloons going up. Haunted House Guests, which we had 1 season of, where we went to people's homes, stayed with them, and told them who, why, what, when, or where their house is haunted. Then we did 2 seasons of Ghost Brothers Lights Out, which was essentially us back to investigating larger locations, but just all over. So the same show just wrapped up in a different pretty bow.
Yeah, well, and I loved your show because you guys were going in locations that you didn't see on the all the other shows, which was I found fascinating. And so when going into these investigations, you get the backstory and the history. How many cases and hauntings did you go to that involved true crime prior to the haunting, or what could be causing the haunting?
True crime related, maybe honestly a couple, for sure a couple during Ghost Brothers. But to be completely honest, I've probably ran into more true crime doing my YouTube channel on the Graveyard Shift. Because that's kind of what I focus on with the Graveyard.
Oh yes, I know. I complete because you have that on YouTube. Is that correct?
Yeah. So on YouTube, what I do is I took all the knowledge that I gained from Ghost Brothers, which was just being thrust and thrown into the paranormal. I had no background before it, no interest before Ghost Brothers, had never done anything before Ghost Brothers. So after doing those years of Ghost Brothers and just kind of understanding the paranormal and kind of finding my space, the past 2.5 years, I started my own thing on YouTube under my name, Dalen Spratt. And I started a community called The Graveyard Shift, where we solely focus on spirit box sessions. I don't really use any other equipment. I'm just mastering one tool, and that's the spirit box. And I go to resting communities, AKA graveyards, all over the world. And I try to speak to those who haven't been spoken to in a long time. But I started a series within that called PTO, playing off of like the whole work thing with the graveyard shift, where my viewers write to me and they tell me about that they want me to come out and help them communicate with their loved one. But what that's turned into is a lot of true crime that people just want answers from. Like, literally every episode almost of my channel is some sort of true crime story, people wanting, closure, needing answers. Just, it's intense.
Yeah. And, with me doing true crime, and I've been a true crime junkie my whole life. When you see the families, like if they have a family member that was murdered, but they don't know who did it, and just that not knowing, or if you have a missing person in your family and you don't know whether they're alive or dead, and just that angst of not having that closure. And I'm sure that's why a lot of the spirits on the other side are very active, because they want closure too. They want their story told. Doing the spirit box sessions, and if people don't know what a spirit box is, it's a investigative tool for the paranormal where it scans frequencies and words can pop through. I've used spirit boxes myself, and I actually like it. It's I think it's a really cool tool to use, especially at like a graveyard. I think because you can actually pick up so many other voices and you hear the distinction between the voices. So it's pretty neat. Now, in your opinion, do you feel like ghosts can be a witness to, have you gotten any information from a spirit box session or an EVP session that you were you were shocked at, maybe like so-and-so, like if the ghost said, hey, this person killed me, and then what do you do with that information? Have you gotten anything of that substance during an investigation?
I've gotten some of the craziest things ever. One that stands out to me, I guess kind of similar to a witness situation. So early last year, we have to keep up with the timeline for this to make sense. Early last year, I went to Columbus, Georgia to visit Kim Porter. So if people that don't know Kim Porter, that is Diddy's ex. So P. Diddy, Sean P. Diddy Combs, his ex, the mother of his children. There have been rumors that he had her killed. And so I wanted to go to her grave and directly ask her. And we did. And she made mention that she felt like he did. But the most interesting thing, mind you, this was early last year. She said by the end of 2024, Diddy would be arrested and he would be in jail. And she said that he was going to die. Months later, he ended up getting arrested and going to jail. And the only prophecy that has not came true yet was him passing away. And so it was just that blew everyone's mind in our community, because it was spot on. Like, she literally predicted, and this is before all the murmurs of what was about to happen. So when she said it, I was like, Diddy's going to jail. And I was like,
sure.
Yeah, sure. And sure enough.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Amazing. I did see, and I will have a link in today's description for your YouTube channel for Graveyard Shift, because I do watch that. I saw the one that you did at O.J. Simpson with O.J. Simpson and Nicole Simpson.
Yes.
That's been a case that I have engulfed myself in, trying to figure out what could have happened. And so what were kind of the things you picked up? You were at Nicole's place on Bundy Drive, is that correct?
Yeah, so I did a lot of research before I went out there because I vividly remember the case when I was, I had to be like in maybe the fourth or fifth grade whenever this happened. So I was old enough to remember and just how the world took it. And so I tried to do as much research as I could, and I've retraced the steps. So I flew to LA, and I went to the last restaurant that Nicole ate at, where she allegedly left her glasses that Ronald Goldman was the waiter at, that he took from there and walked to her house. So I went down the path from the restaurant to her house, went to the house she was killed in, walked around it, went to the front door, went to the back fence where they believe that OJ or whoever the killer was jumped the back fence to meet Nicole and run in the front. Like, I did the whole shebang. And then I went to Nicole's grave. And surprisingly, well, I guess it wasn't surprisingly, she just didn't want to talk about it. She was just over it. It seemed like with Nicole that so many people have profited off of her death that she was just over it. Like, she didn't want to talk about it. Nothing of like substance came from it. Nothing, which I respected. So then I went to Ronald Goldman's grave. And oh boy, was it a different story. Like, Ronald was like,
sure.
I got something to say.
Oh, wow.
Like, listen, y'all been talking to the wrong person. I am here and I am ready. Yeah.
Finally, somebody heard me.
Yeah. And what's crazy, at his grave, he said the name David. Like, almost like the name David was included, responsible, had something to do. And I was like, who is David? When I tell you, I got 1,000 emails after that episode aired, and people doing research and finding out that the man David was actually OJ's friend, who was the godfather of his kids. And it's just interesting how Ronald Goldman referenced this person being involved in his death. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to call the police and be like, hey, y'all might want to look into David.
Right. And, OJ's gone now, I mean, but yeah, like, those are the type of spirits that you would think would want to just scream out, because especially with the OJ case. I mean, it was just with him not being found guilty in the original trial and everybody thought he did it. It was just like one of those things that was just thrown up in the air and just left hanging there. Like this dark cloud, but maybe Nicole's over it because OJ's gone now too. And she's just like, it's just a mute point at this point, who cares? And,
possibly.
But yeah, that one would be one that I would love to investigate myself, because I'm so eager to know. I want that closure. And I was watching it along with everybody else in America, watching the slow Bronco chase down the 405 in LA. But yeah, that was a crazy one. Now, what other celebrities have you investigated at doing graveyard shift? Are there any ones that you were eager to like really get into and check out?
Yeah. So, okay. I know, I don't know. I feel like, I don't think I'm investigating, because I was thinking, because people say that, and I think about that from time to time, and I'm like, I picture myself as more of like a paranormal journalist.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Ghost Brothers was investigating. That was like, are ghosts real? What are they? Where are they? Who's here? Da 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 da. Which is dope. I love it. That's where I got my start from. But now I'm trying to find my purpose. And I feel like my purpose is what I'm doing now, and it's giving a voice to the voiceless. So I'm beyond the, are you here? Like, are ghosts here? Like, da da da.
Yeah.
I'm more so now, what is it that you're trying to say? Do you have a message? How can we converse? So when it comes to celebrities, man, I've talked to, and it's funny because I'm like, dang, I have talked to, I don't think there's a greater interviewer than me, because my roster, I've talked to everybody. I've talked to
person beat.
Listen, I've talked to Lee Harvey Oswald, who allegedly killed Kennedy. I talked to Jack Ruby, who killed Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, he did.
David Koresh, who was the cult leader in Waco, Texas.
What?
I've talked to Sharon Tate, who was murdered in the cult killings. I've talked
Mm-hmm.
to Emmett Till, who died in the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King, Coretta Scott King,
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Robinson, uh, uh, everybody. Like literally, I thrive off of like trying to communicate with
Mm-hmm.
yes, celebrities. I think it's cool. I feel like to talk to the celebrities because it's just you just hear Paul Walker, Matthew Perry. Like I've talked to everybody.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Well, yeah, and it's, especially like those celebrities when they're gone, we're like, hey, we can still see you on TV, but we still, we want to know more. And yeah, going to now you go to their graves, and is that where you're having the communication with them? Is there? You
yeah.
ever
I go,
seen it
I go, I
at the
go.
location?
Yeah, now I always go to the resting site. Like, and I know you don't have to go there because we've experimented with that, seeing if we can contact spirits not at their resting space. But
Mm-hmm.
one, I feel like it sets the backdrop for
Mm-hmm.
what I do, and two, I feel like it shows a sign of respect because like I'm going out of my way to travel to your space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's almost like my way of just like just remembering them and just yeah. I just feel like it makes it. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like 100 years from now, when I transition, like if somebody was trying to talk to me, I would love for them to come to a space that I am somewhat sort of attached to or connected
Right.
to.
Yeah, it's just kind of that little bubble of space. You have the name is there, their body is there. So
Yeah.
yeah, it just makes sense. Now what is kind of the scariest moment you had involving like an unsolved crime, doing it, either an investigation, or did you have any of like holy crap moments when like terrifying crap moments at doing
Uh,
graveyard shift? Was there any type of paranormal activity there that you're like, oh, like you were
so
just kind of, ooh, this
no,
is freaky.
not really, because I've
Mhm.
been doing it so long. Maybe when I first started going to the resting communities, I was a little nervous just because you're just in resting communities. But now, like, it's funny. My wife gets so pissed at me. Like, I will go take a nap. Like, I will take a nap in a cemetery. Like,
Oh,
I eat lunch in a cemetery. Like, she'll call me when I'm out of town and she'll be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Man, I just woke up." She's like, "Were you at the hotel?" Like, "No, I'm at the cemetery." Like, I took like I was sleepy. I took an hour nap and I'm getting back to it. Like,
oh, that's funny.
I
Well,
never
and
had.
you really, yeah, you think about it, cemeteries have that a lot of emotional attachment to it, not only from the paranormal on the spiritual side of things, but what do we do when we go to a cemetery? We go there to grieve, to remember our loved ones. So we're exuding those energies into the area as well. So I'm sure it's like kind of like a, a battery just to charge the area. Um, Now, have you ever had a spirit contact you that like really needed your attention to help solve something, or did you or get any information that you're like, holy crap, this is what happened, and
Yeah,
maybe history says something different?
yeah, a lot of times. But the very first time, um, I was in Atlanta and I was at a resting community outside of Atlanta. And I have a rule where I don't try to communicate with people who passed, within the past couple years. I like to
Mhm.
10, 5, 10, 15, 20, 100, 150 years away, like back, cool. But
Mhm.
somebody 1 or 2 years, I just don't. For me, it's out of respect to the family members that are still living because they
Yeah.
may run across. My biggest fear is somebody running across a video that I've made on their family member and they just freak out on me. So I just try my best to avoid newly transitioned people. Now, I was at a resting community and it's funny, the mausoleum, the walls, I call them the condominiums, but the walls in cemeteries that have all the drawers of people, so not the
Mhm.
people that are buried, but the people that are placed within the wall structure,
Yeah.
aka the condominiums, of the high rises, as I like to call them. Uh, I was walking past a row and I tripped.
Mhm.
literally tripped over my foot, my own foot. Like nothing.
He just fell over.
Just tripped. Literally just tripped. I was like, damn, did I trip over a stick, a rock? But literally just tripped. So I stumbled and I then sat down where I stumbled. And I was just like, what if somebody was trying to get my attention? Like, what if somebody tripped me? Just talking out loud. And so I put on the spirit box and I was like, is someone here that wants to speak to me? And literally it said, behind you. So behind me was the condominiums. So I looked to my right and the spirit box says the other way.
Oh.
So I looked to my left and there was one lonely name sitting on the wall, Hakeem Williams. And I saw that he had passed the year before. And I was like, I'm not going to try to talk to this guy. Like, he passed literally a year ago.
He's a newbie.
He's new. Like, I'm not. But it just kept weighing on me as I was sitting there. And I was like, let me at least Google his name and just see what pops up. And I Googled Hakeem Williams, and literally it popped up that he passed away a year earlier while he was in prison. So he passed away in Valdosta State Prison. And that's all it said. So I was man, if he want to talk, I'm going to give him the opportunity to. So I just cut the box on. Literally 3 things came out the box. He said, I was set up. He said it was destroyed. And he said they are no longer there. So this is what came out the box. I was set up. It was destroyed and they are no longer there. I don't know what none of that means. Wow. I just put the video out. A day and a half later, I get hit up on Facebook by a girl I went to high school with that I haven't seen since 2003. I haven't talked to this girl. I haven't seen this girl, nothing. She sends me a message and says, Dalen, are you out here hunting ghosts? And I responded back. I was like, I mean, kinda, yeah. I've been doing it on TV for the past few years. And she was like, I never knew that. Like, we haven't talked since high school. She said a random lady reached out to me on Facebook and said she's trying to get in contact with you. And she saw that we were connected on Facebook. She said that you were talking to her son and she needs to speak with you ASAP. And I was like, oh Lord, they done caught me. Somebody done found my video. And like, this is what I've been trying to avoid. A family member trying to contact me from speaking to their loved one. Like, I just knew that I was in trouble and she was going to tell me, don't be talking to my loved ones and So out of respect, I called this lady and she tells me she's crying on the phone. And she's like, Dalen, you talked to my son, Hakeem, and everything he said in that video was confirmation to everything that we believed happened. She was like, Dalen, he told you he was set up. She said they have on footage. It was supposed to be on tape. What happened was a guard came into his cell and handcuffed his hands behind his back and left out and allowed his cellmate to stab him to death. That's how he was killed in prison. Now, remember, I was set up. The guard came in, handcuffed him, and allowed it to happen. He said it was destroyed. His mother said there was video evidence that showed the guard coming into the cell. It got lost. No one knows what this footage is. And the last thing Hakeem said was they're no longer there. The guard that they believe set him up transferred to a whole nother prison in a whole nother state. So literally everything that was going on, I had no idea of none of this stuff, but Hakeem was avidly trying to get his story out. So his mother has been trying to work with me, just trying to like figure more out about the case and the situation. But yeah, it's intense.
And that, those are the kind of stories, I know you try to avoid those, but that's kind of like a beautiful thing for his mother. I mean, just to have some of clarity and just to acknowledge what really happened to him, that might make her feel a little bit more like, okay, now he's verifying what we've been thinking this whole time. Now, do you believe when you go into any type of investigation or speaking spirit box sessions, do you feel the energy is different when there's a crime attached to it? Does it feel darker, heavier, or you just don't know until you start hearing words and putting the pieces together? I mean, do you feel something up front when it comes to that stuff?
Sometimes the energy changes before you even start. I think recently, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I went to, I don't remember what city. I travel so much. I don't remember what city I was in. I don't remember, but this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I met a woman, and this was probably one of the most emotional sessions I had ever done. So her story is she had a daughter, beautiful, beautiful daughter, 24 years old. The daughter had just had a baby, 3-month-old child, and she was still with her child's father. Her child's father and her got into a domestic dispute. So she leaves. She takes her child to her mother's house, and she gets her dad, and they go to move her stuff out of her boyfriend's house. So they just go there to get all of her stuff and to move it out. When they get to the house, the boyfriend is there. An argument breaks out. The boyfriend shoots the daughter in the face, kills her, shoots the father like 6 times in the chest, kills him, and then turned the gun on himself. So this was a murder and a double murder. And I'm sitting at the gravesite with this lady who literally lost her husband, her daughter to this tragic situation. And so the energy and the mood with that was just, it was just sad. It was just really, really sad. And the daughter came through, the husband came through, and it was just, it was very, very emotional for sure.
Now, yeah, that would be very, I'm an empath, so I've been bawling along with them and just crying. But now, do you think with what you've been learning and experiencing and doing your spirit box sessions for graveyard shifts, do you feel like you can maybe kind of hone in what you do and possibly have police and criminal investigators use that as a tool to solve a crime? I mean, do you feel like we are, because they use psychic mediums, but do you feel like we're getting closer to maybe having something like what you do over on the other side of law enforcement to assist them in anything like this?
I don't think so. I don't think they would probably ever go for, because I call myself, I always say I'm not a psychic, I'm not a medium, I'm just a brother holding a box. That's it. Just holding a spirit box, asking questions. And I just don't think that they would, it would have to be someone, it would have to be a detective who watches Graveyard Shift and then just doesn't tell his superiors or his coworkers where he got the information from. Because I just don't think that they would lead any credence to me allegedly talking to somebody on the other side. Because I tell people all the time, we don't. I was talking to Scotty, the medium, the other day, and he was just like, well, actually yesterday we were together in New Jersey, and he asked me, he was like, a lot of people get called out for what they do, but he was like, you never get called out. Like, yeah, people in the comments that don't believe be like, this is fake. But no one in like the field has ever been like, Dalen is bull crapping. Or no one has ever made a reaction video of me and been like, oh, that guy is full of it. And I just think it's because I don't hide my hand with anything. I'm not like a psychic or a medium where and this is no shot to them because I believe in them, but it's not like I'm seeing something in my head and then you have to just trust that I'm telling you what I'm seeing. I'm using a recorder that you can download on your phone too. And you literally are hearing the same thing I'm hearing in real time. So you know I'm not making this up. We both heard Hakeem say I was set up.
Right, exactly. You know so yeah,
So I think it
Oh.
would take a police officer or an investigator that genuinely just believed and just kind of used me as like, had me in his back pocket a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're like the little secret weapon that nobody knows about.
Exactly.
Where did you get your tips? I cannot reveal my source.
Exactly. I'm a paranormal journalist. My sources have to remain confidential for sure.
Right.
Now, during the Halloween season, the veil between the worlds gets thinner and the chills get real. Oh, so very real. Something is waiting in the dark, and it's calling your name.
So answer the call this Halloween season for the Paranormal 60 presents Halloween Haunts and Hijinks, October 9th through the 12th, for a supernatural weekend you'll never forget. It's being held at the historic haunted Palmer House Hotel in Sauk Center, Minnesota. Join Dave Schrader from the Holzer Files, Ghosts of Devil's Perch, and the host of the Paranormal 60 podcast. He's teaming up with Dalen Spratt from Ghost Brothers and Phantom Forensics. And we have heart-centered intuitive Diet Renee for a weekend packed with spine-tingling experiences. You'll have 2 nights of live investigations and paranormal experiments, interactive workshops, gallery readings, and meet and greets, live presentations with experts themselves. This isn't just an event, it's a doorway to the unknown. So you have to ask yourself, do you dare cross it? Now, tickets are limited, so please book your Halloween Haunts and Hijinks adventure now at darknessevents.com. Again, that is darknessevents.com. Now, have you ever come across a spirit that was the guilty party, that was like just, I don't know, just evil, I guess? Or
Yeah. Who would I talk to?
What are they like on the other side? Are they remorseful, or are they just much of a jerk as they were in the real life?
So David Koresh was a jerk. He became a jerk when I started talking about his history, his past. So in my research with David Koresh, found out that he had a history with young girls, and I brought it up. And yeah, he wasn't having it. He was like, "Get out of here! Don't talk!" Like all of that. Yep. I've talked to a number of serial killers. There's a black lady in Atlanta. She killed like 15 people back in the day, and like the majority of them were husbands, kids, to get insurance policies. She had no remorse. She was just like, you gotta see how you live. She didn't. Yeah, it wasn't no, I'm sorry, I feel bad. None of that.
Oh my God. She just killed off her husbands and kids and just, oh my God, that's horrible. It doesn't feel remorseful. Well, you probably know where she ended up.
Right. But she was married like 5 times, and like all 5 of her husbands, like 6 or 7 of her kids, like her husband. She married a man that had 3 kids. She killed his kids and him.
Oh my gosh. She used poison. I wonder if she's poison.
Yeah, all type. Yeah, poison, all of it. She was out the gate.
Oh my gosh. So what other serial killers, like anybody?
There's this guy. You gonna make me pull up my. Let me see if I can pull up my little.
I know. Well, I've also talked about a couple paranormal. I call them true crime with a paranormal twist to them. But you had the Greenbrier ghost. You had the Red Barn ghost, where the ghost assisted. I mean, even with the Greenbrier ghost, I mean, literally, the guy was found guilty based on the testimony of the victim's mother having dreams of the daughter coming and telling her that the husband killed her.
Oh wow!
And it actually. Yes, and it actually that swayed the jury to say he was guilty of murdering his wife.
Yeah, I believe it. I'm trying to see who. I'm looking at my list. I talked to the parents of the Menendez brothers. I talked to them.
Did?
I talked to who else? I've done so many videos. David Koresh. Blah, blah, blah. I talked to some victims of the Jonestown massacre with Jim Jones. So I didn't get to talk to him, but I talked to, a couple of his victims. Who else? Yeah, so many. Yeah, so the Casanova killer, he was the most handsome serial killer. He was out there, I think, in Florida. Yeah, a whole lot.
Everyone thought Ted Bundy was handsome. No,
ladies like old Ted for sure.
How you doing?
But now, okay, for the Jonestown massacre, which is, if nobody knows about it, Jim Jones was a religious leader who basically moved his whole congregation down to, I think it's
Guyana.
Guam or Guyana. That's where it was, Guyana, and created this community. And he was very abusive, very controlling, saying that people can leave whenever they want, but they can't leave whenever they want. It's one of those things, what he says on the surface. But when there were one of the senator from California came down, Senator Ryan, I believe his name was, he went down there to talk to the people to say, hey, is everything okay down here? Kind of like a welfare check. But, with the Jonestown thing, it was a collective mass murder. I mean, if you heard the term drinking the Kool-Aid, it came from that incident. What they did was they took a bunch of fruit punch or whatever, dumped a bunch of cyanide in it, and made the people drink the punch.
Yeah.
And forcing it down the baby's throats because they wanted to die as a group, I guess. It was a mass thing. And what kind of stuff did you pick up from that? Because that, I can't imagine that. To me, I think I would lose it. Because knowing that kids were forced this. Oh God, what did you pick up with that?
So a woman in our community was a part of the Jonestown cult, and she reached out and wanted to speak to her siblings. So she lost 3 siblings in the massacre. So she was like 14 when it happened. So her family met Jim Jones in California. She was a part of his church. She traveled up and down California with him every week to preach, her and her family. And then they all moved to Guyana to help build out the church out there. So she lived out there. It was her older brother. It was her and her 2 younger sisters. And ironically, they brought a doctor to the camp to give everyone eye checks. So the doctor brought literally bags and bags and bags and bags and bags of glasses, different prescriptions, everything. She said literally thousands of glasses he brought, so they didn't have to go get, what they needed when people got their eyes checked. She got her eyes checked, and the doctor looked at her and said, without looking at any of the bags, I don't have what you need. You have to go to Georgetown and go get your prescription filled. And she was like, I don't want to go to Georgetown. And he was like, you have to go get your glasses. So she tried not to go, but Jim Jones and the other instructors there forced her to go to Georgetown to go get her glasses. So to travel to Georgetown, this is like a week-long experience. It's not like you go up the street and get it and come back. You're traveling days to get to Georgetown. So while she was away, in the few days that she was away, that's when all hell broke loose and everyone was killed. So the only reason she survived is because her eyes were bad and she needed to go get glasses from Georgetown. All of her siblings were killed, everything. So for her, her thing is she hates the saying, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Like I don't allow anyone in our community to ever say that. Like never say that in our community is one of the rules that I have, because seeing someone who was there and how it affected them just changes everything. Because she was like, to her, don't drink the Kool-Aid isn't just some phrase that you say when you're trying to get a point across. She was like, every time I think of drink the Kool-Aid, and I'm just going to make this name up because I can't remember the name she said. She's like, I think of my friend Ashley, who they held her down pried her mouth open and literally poured this cyanide down her throat as she's screaming and choking and crying. She was like, when you say don't drink the Kool-Aid, think about my friend Ashley being forced to do that. And hopefully you will never say it again. And I was just like, damn. And she was like, and a lot of people think that these people willingly drank this stuff. She was like, people don't even realize a vast majority of the people were found with puncture wounds in like their back, their necks. Like they were injecting people with cyanide. Like you try to get away, they would hold you down and stick a needle in your back and shoot this poison in you until you die. Like, so she wanted to talk to her brother. She wanted to talk to her 2 siblings. And so she, when everything burned to hell and the police came, the FBI, the CIA, everybody came out there to figure this whole mess out. They grabbed her from Georgetown because they had an offset of the community in Georgetown.
Yep, they had like a base house or something like that.
They flew her to New York. She showed us her mugshot at 14, sitting in like the FBI's office, looking like her world was just turned upside down. Like the fear in her face. So the FBI told her that her brother is thought to be the person that pulled the trigger on Jim Jones, because Jim Jones told her brother, if it ever comes to it, I want you to be the person that does this for me. So that was one of her questions. Did her brother actually pull the trigger on Jim Jones? And it was crazy, the responses that she got. Y'all got to check that episode out if you want to know what he said.
Yeah. Don't spoil it. No spoilers here. Yeah. And when we talk about the Jonestown massacre, we're not just talking 50 people.
No.
There were over 900 people that died in that massacre. And it was Senator Leo Ryan and a couple of journalists, because they went down because people were writing letters saying, hey, we can't reach our family members. So I mean, that's kind of what opened the can of worms, and that's kind of what happened with David Grush too. People were finding out they had guns in the compound and they were manufacturing illegal ammunition, things like that. So that's why the FBI was trying to get involved with the David Grush case. But yeah, the Jonestown massacre, that to me, it would be a place where I don't think I could even step on the grounds because of all the sadness. Because people were forced to take the cyanide punch, or like you said, there were injection holes, so people probably refusing were getting injected by it. So there had to have been some people that were all in on it, and they actually even did drills prior to this.
She told us that he would call everyone into the sanctuary to like it's called the pavilion, and he would be like, now we're doing it, like now's the time, we have to transcend, come up here, and now we're all gonna die. And people would go up there, like go up on the stage like they're ready, and other people would be crying and saying no, and then he would be like, see, that this was just a test. All of you that said no, your faith isn't strong enough. He said that he would call them at like 3 a.m. and take them into the jungle of Guyana and put them in ditches and tell them that armed forces are literally on the other side of these tree lines and they're coming to massacre us. We have to protect ourselves. And she said they would leave them out there for like a day and a half, waiting to damn near be killed. And it was all just psychological. It was all psychological warfare instilled by Jim Jones. Crazy.
Yeah, and that's a thing with cults. The mind control, the fear. Like you said, he said, "Oh, people can leave whenever they want." No, they can't.
So that's how it all started. Like you said, Leo Ryan came, and I have all this footage. I've watched all this footage. There's like an hour and 30-minute document, not even a documentary, just a found footage of Leo Ryan's experience. So what they did was Jim Jones set up like propaganda all over the compound. So he had families over here singing songs in the choir, kids over here jump roping. You know what I mean? People over here cooking together, fellowshipping. Like it looked like a happy place. And he was like, yeah, they can leave anytime they want. So Leo Ryan is like, is anybody, are y'all good? Everybody want to stay? And everybody's like, yeah, we love it here. Until one man slipped Leo a note. The note was like, Leo, I got to get the up out of here, Leo.
Right.
And Leo was like, all right, bet. Clearly there are some people that want to leave. How many of y'all really want to leave? And maybe about 20 or 30 people was like us. So he puts them in a big old open air van truck and takes them to the airport. And as soon as they get to the airport, Jim Jones sent about 5 or 6 armed people to meet them at the airport, and they just opened fire on everybody. So the moment that they killed Leo Ryan and a couple of those other people, that was the catalyst. They knew it was over at that point. But they say Jim Jones was so doped up during that time period, like he wasn't even thinking straight. Like he was on so many drugs that it was just, he wasn't thinking.
Yeah, he wasn't sleeping. He wasn't thinking straight. He was paranoid all the time. And obviously he pushed all that paranoia onto his congregation. And I mean, I can't imagine being in that situation. But like the energy that's left behind there has to be just so strong. Now, have there been any other cases that kind of hit you, like spirit box sessions that really impacted you emotionally when you heard stuff coming out of the box?
All the time, all the time, because literally you're unraveling stuff in real time. But like I've enjoyed my talk with Lee Harvey Oswald was interesting because he said he was set up. I thought that was cool because I've been a part of this JFK, being from Dallas, just being a part of that JFK conspiracy. They just shove that down your throat every year in Dallas.
Yeah, I've done a show on it for sure already. And it's fascinating.
So Lee Harvey saying that he was set up was interesting. But Bonnie and Clyde, I'm a huge Bonnie and Clyde fan. Like I remember being like in the 1st or 2nd grade, my grandmother used to always take me to the library and make me read books and get a book. She did not care what book it was as long as I was reading. Like she didn't care what it was. And I remember picking up Ambush, the true story of Bonnie and Clyde when I was like 8 and seeing death photos in here. And it just blew my mind that these were real images of 23-year-olds shot up and killed in a car. And it just always sparked my interest. And so as an adult, they're buried in Dallas. I went to Bonnie and Clyde's individual graves, and those sessions were super, super amazing. Like they weren't emotional where it affected me emotionally, but it allowed me to understand that they're still living that same type of life. So I'm at Clyde's grave. He's buried next to his brother, Marvin. And we're talking for like 10 or 15 minutes. And out the blue, it was like, get up, leave. And I'm like, damn, man, I thought we was talking. And literally it said, cops, the cops. Winnie, hand to God, I looked up. There was a police car creeping up the street.
Oh.
I was like, what? That let me know. I'm like, okay, so you are aware. You see what's going on, and you still harbor the same type of feelings and emotions that you did when you were living. It's still F the police.
Right. He's just like, run, the cops are coming.
It was literally that. And I was just like, wow.
He's stuck in that fugitive mentality, isn't
100%, he? 100%.
Don't worry, buddy. The handcuffs won't work on you. Yeah. Now, Phantom Forensics. That's what I want. Your new show that you have with medium Scotty Davis, who is also a police officer. But now, what is different about Phantom Forensics that that's different from your Ghost Brothers and what you do for Graveyard Shift? What's different about this particular show, and what's kind of the formula for it?
So what's interesting about Phantom Forensics, it's kind of similar to our show Lights Out, where in Lights Out, each episode, one of us would have all the information and the other two would have nothing. So we would go to a location, with that type of premise behind it. This is the same premise in Phantom Forensics. You have me, who has all the information of the location, the story, all of that, and Scotty, who knows absolutely nothing. And the whole gist of the program is, can Scotty come into a location without knowing an ounce of information and slowly piece together this story just by using what I call his superpowers, his being a psychic medium, touching the area that we're in, getting visions, all of that, and just piece together this story. And I let him know, kind of like a little kid at the playground, you're getting hot, you're kind of warm, or you're cold.
Oh, you're freezing. You're freezing. Turn around. Yeah. Well, that's a very interesting concept, because that way it kind of gives legitimacy to the evidence that you guys capture with him, picking up on what because he doesn't know anything.
Right.
Now, how many episodes have come out now?
3. We did a 3-part. Yeah. So that's the first story we did was 3 episodes. And it was kind of just like bite-sized teasers of just what the overall concept is. So as we grow and, we secure more funding for our project, the episodes will get much longer and be way more in depth. But this was just our first run and just kind of show a proof of concept of what we're trying to do.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm very eager to watch it. I haven't done it yet, but if you guys want to check it out, it's phantomforensics.com. I'll have a link in the description today. Dalen, I'm going to have you back on at some point, because you have so many stories with this graveyard shift.
Yeah.
Talking to Lee Harvey Oswald. What?
Right.
And we all know he was set up. And, obviously now it's confirmed with the documents released. But, it's just like picking up on those stories. Now, is there anyone that you're eager to want to go? And
you know what? Yes. And I think something is trying to stop me from going. And I don't know why, but every time I try to go, literally, my mom was saying that the other day. She's like, Dalen, have you realized every time you try to go to so-and-so, something happens? Yes. So Selena, I've been trying to get to Selena in Corpus Christi, Texas for the longest. So it's every time it's something. Weather, the plane gets deterred. The flight, I missed the layover because the previous flight gets, like, it's always something that not allow me to get to Selena. So at this point, I'm gonna just drive from Atlanta to Corpus Christi. But I want to retrace her whole thing, especially with the woman that killed her, actively trying to get out of jail right now. Yolanda, I think is her name. Yolanda.
Yep.
So like I'm trying to get to Selena. She's like the number one. Her, Whitney Houston, because I've been a fan of Whitney since I was a kid. I used to think that I was gonna marry Whitney Houston when I was a kid.
I was a Whitney fan. I had all of her tapes on cassette, and Whitney would be a good one, because we know what happened, but why did it happen that way? And what's even more creepy, is that her daughter died the same exact way in a bathtub.
And that's exactly
why. One person that's been involved and was around in both of them. One person.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
Yes. So I want to. Yes. But I have another couple questions. I have a couple other questions involved in that. So yes, they say the daughter's husband, boyfriend was around during both, but they also say Ray J, Brandy's little brother, could have possibly given Whitney the drugs that took her life that night. So I got a whole bunch of questions.
You got a whole notebook full of questions to ask Whitney Houston. Well, hey, when the opportunity's there, you got to get it all in before it's gone, right?
100%.
Thank you so much, Dalen. Yeah, this was fun. I'm definitely going to have you on again. And I will be having Scotty Davis, the medium, on here too, talking about phantom forensics on his side of the things, of him doing the psychic abilities to talk, how does he connect with the information that you have? Because I find that fascinating, and I feel like these tools are at our disposal are not being utilized properly, especially when it comes to a crime and investigation, things like that. But police departments are opening up a little bit more to psychic mediums. Not all of them, but some are. And sometimes family members are just saying, screw the police, I'm hiring somebody myself then. But yeah, thank you so much. Again, it's phantomforensics.com, and it's Dalen Spratt on YouTube, which I'll have a link so people can watch all your episodes of Graveyard Shift. But I have watched a few. I have to watch more because now I'm really, really, really anxious to get in there. But thank you so much, Dalen, and I hope to see you guys all next week.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Mysteries, Mayhem, and Merlot. And until our next case, my armchair detectives, stay safe, stay vigilant, and stay aware. I'll see you right here next week on Mysteries, Mayhem, and Merlot.